Hi, everyone. Hope this finds you doing well and staying safe and healthy. Wanted to take a few moments and go over some things with you for this week. Number one, we still are doing attendance for FID days this week. So make sure that you still do go to the district link that they send out for Tuesday, March the 24th, and Thursday, March the 26th, because you're still supposed to complete those. So just because you did attendance last week does not mean that you would not have to do attendance this week. It's expected that you would do attendance both for Tuesday and Thursday. So for this week, there are FID instructional days. FID day number 4, Tuesday, March 24th, and then FID day number 5 is going to be Thursday, the 26th. Then beginning next Wednesday is when remote learning is going to take place. And so the idea with the remote learning is that this would be more of a day-to-day assignment kind of check-in. What I'll probably be doing is I would anticipate on Wednesday, April the 1st, I'll just kind of post all the assignments and materials that are needed for that week. And so then you have the ability to kind of work at your own pace for those materials. But as we continue to progress with the remote learning, there would be more specific due dates for individual assignments as opposed to right now with all FIT assignments per the district, everything has to be due by April the 3rd. And so there's going to be a little bit more specificity and individualized planning that could be going on once we begin those remote learning days on Wednesday, April the 1st. Pretty much for this week, with our FID days on Tuesday and Thursday, everything I'm going to run through today is also going to be applicable for Thursday. So there will not be any new assignments listed for Thursday, but basically the idea is Tuesday and Thursday would be days to work on the current assignments. And the big thing really is going to be the Fahrenheit 451 research paper, which we've been working on, for quite some time. As I just mentioned, all assignments with FID days are to be due not before Friday, April the 3rd. So your research paper, we were giving dates last week about having a final copy due this Thursday and a rough draft due on Tuesday. But really, the research paper now, the setup would be that it is due on Friday, April the 3rd. So for next Friday is when everything would be submitted to turnitin.com. What that means, though, is that there's not going to be a separate due date for a rough draft. Now, you're still going to get credit for having a rough draft complete. So assuming you turn in the final copy on time on Friday, April the 3rd, and it's in the proper paragraph format, you'll also be getting your rough draft points, which are going to total 24. So you would still be getting those 24 points coming in on Friday, April the 3rd as well. And that rough draft points are going to be based on completion, as we've been doing all year long. It's not getting into the actual formatting and content of the essay as would be graded with your overall final copy. So when the final draft actually is getting turned in, and really you would want this for your rough draft as well, but you want to make sure your paragraphs are properly formatted. And simply what I mean by that is you've gone through and you've taken out the template instructions and the material that I had in the Google document for you to work on. So all of your paragraphs look like paragraphs. So the sentences, are punctuated. There's indents at the beginning of every paragraph, and just has the look overall of an MLA format essay. Make sure that those necessary citations and support are there. Now, not every single sentence that you're going to have in a body paragraph is going to be cited, but anytime you're using those source materials, from those note cards, you want to make sure that those source citations are being done properly. And from the rough drafts that I've been seeing, you folks have been doing a good job with that. So just basically maintain what you have been doing with the source material. For your sources, remember you have to have at least one quotation still coming from Fahrenheit 451, and I realize this isn't anything new, but just trying to reiterate. And really, you only need that one example coming from Fahrenheit. Once you have that one example, you're good to go, and you can use the other source material that you've been finding for your specific research project. Remember that you do have to have an additional source material, an additional book material. So you would have information coming from Fahrenheit 451 and then an additional book source. Now, that book source does not have to be quoted. That's up to you. The one from Fahrenheit 451 does need to be a direct quotation. In total, you're going to have 6 plus, or at least 6 sources. It could go beyond that, but you would have Fahrenheit 451 and then 5 additional sources. And as I'd mentioned, for the draft and for your final copy, you're in proper paragraph formation. And one of those body paragraphs, most likely your last one, is going to be that counter argument paragraph, where again, it's not that you're changing your viewpoint on the issue, but you're addressing what an opposing viewpoint would be for the topic that you are looking at. So you recognize that there's other viewpoints out there besides the one that you are taking, and you're addressing that opposing viewpoint, whether it's identifying flaws, explaining why your argument is still stronger, but you're basically addressing what the counter argument would be. And then last but not least, make sure that you do have an updated works cited page exported from Noodle Tools. And if you have any questions about any components with this, by all means, make sure you do let me know. So your final copy, again, is going to be with this Friday, April the 3rd date, is going to get submitted to Turnitin.com. I will make that assignment available on Turnitin. Currently it is not, but by the time you go to check, that assignment will be there on Turnitin, so you can just attach it from your Google Drive. Any questions that you have while working on the essay, or once you're done with your rough draft, you just have overall general concepts, questions you want to go over, you can continue to post those questions in your rough drafts, and obviously send me an email or remind text. But as I continue to look through your rough drafts, I look at the comments, and if you have any questions on there, I could certainly try to address those. Remember, on Google Classroom, there is the discussion thread that I put on last week. So under the FID topic on Google Classroom, you can post any questions that you have to that discussion thread. And there's also the Zoom Cloud Meeting app, which is a free app for download that can get used on phone or iPad, tablet device, both Apple and Android. And the district has made reference to this app. Whereas we go to remote learning, it'll be a way to post actual lesson content. It's more having the ability to kind of do semi face-to-face meetings, but live interaction can look at essays together. So if you need something a little bit more personal than what would be happening with a remind text or an email or something in Google Drive, you can let me know that you want to do a cloud meet, and we can set that up through Zoom. So that's always an option. Last week, when I was going over some things with you, mentioned that I hadn't heard anything yet about Keystone exam update, and I think it was literally the next day after I said that it was announced that the Keystone exams for 2020 have been canceled. So you will not be responsible for taking Keystone exams for English, nor would you be responsible for any other classes content that you were potentially going to take a Keystone exam for. What that means for us is then that we do not have the need to do Keystone exam prep. There hasn't been any indication that you'll be responsible for taking Keystone exams next year as a junior. I can't say that definitively, but as far as we know at this point, just the Keystone exams have been canceled for you for this year, and there has not been any mention about makeup dates or anything of that nature. So what that does mean is that we're not really going to worry then about doing the constructed response questions, the Keystone multiple choice questions, and things of that nature. We still might do some test prep, generally speaking, for things such as PSAT and SAT, since that would be in your future, but there's not going to be a specific Keystone exam emphasis moving forward. Now, I did mention last time that we spoke that we would be doing a poetry unit, and part of the reason for doing the poetry unit was for Keystone exam prep. We still will be doing that poetry unit, and so beginning April the 1st, we're going to be taking a look at poetry, and that's just always been something that's been present in the English 10 curriculum, and it's something that certainly you're going to be working on as you move on into 11th grade and 12th grade. So the reading, the analysis, the writing of poetry, that'll be something that we will be placing an emphasis on once April rolls around. So that poetry unit will still be going on. So for Wednesday, April the 1st, on Google Classroom, I'll be posting assignments that basically for the week that while you're finishing up your research paper, we'll also start to take a look at poetry. So while your research paper is due on Friday, April the 3rd, I would suggest trying to get as much of it complete as you can this week, or at least by March 30th or 31st, so that when April the 1st rolls around, you're ready to kind of hit the ground running with poetry. Now, that does not mean that you're going to have 10 or 15 assignments due that first week, because I know you would be, still kind of fine-tuning some things with your essay assignment. But while we're working on the essay, hopefully finishing up the essay this week, come next week, we will be doing some other things with the poetry unit, as I mentioned. So rough draft, you want to try to fine-tune that. As I said, keep up with the body paragraphs. Really should be pretty much done with the rough draft at this point so far as paragraph completion. Our original goal was for Tuesday, March the 24th, for that rough draft to be complete, and then Thursday for the final copy to be complete. So really, I would be hoping that by Thursday, you have what would look like your final copy, and then that still gives you about a week to kind of touch base with me, go over any specific issues, questions, concerns that you may have about the research paper. We can fine tune some things with sources. We can, take a look at grammar, punctuation issues that might be popping up within an essay. But make sure that you do post those questions to me. Should you have any, Google Classroom discussion thread. Shoot me an email, send me a remind text, and as I mentioned, if you're interested in doing something a little bit more face to face, there's that Zoom Cloud meeting app that we can take a look at. So for this week, Tuesday, Thursday, March 24th, 26th, it's basically finishing up the research paper. Final due date for that, April the 3rd, and that's just going to get submitted via turnitin.com. For your rough draft, I'll just be able to put those points in based from your Google document. That's not something that you're going to have to submit to me. Separately. So assuming your final copy does get submitted on Friday, April the 3rd, that's basically going to guarantee you, as long as the formatting is done correctly, that you would get those rough draft points, and then the additional assignment of the final copy would be out of the 150 points that we previously mentioned. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Make sure to touch base. I know this week's a little gloomy outside so far as rain, but try to get some fresh air, try to get outside a little bit, at least try to get away from being cooped up inside. Keep the social distancing, but try to get a little bit of fresh air. If you have any questions about anything, by all means, let me know. But good luck this week, and I hope everyone stays safe. Take care.